All right, hey guys. So we're going to go ahead and continue our lessons online. I know you were previously working on either your gumball machine or a radial symmetry printmaking project. I know we have not finished those yet. We probably won't finish those until we get back. But you guys get to do something special. You're going to go ahead and draw what is called a 1-point perspective aquarium drawing. So if you've ever been to like the Georgia aquarium or anything like that, it's going to be a very similar idea as that, except it'll be in the style of a 1-point perspective. Now, first, before we can get into our drawing, I'm going to show you or tell you a little bit about 1-point perspective, how they kind of came into it back way old drawings and paintings, and then I will go ahead and show you the steps to begin your drawing. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to come to my office hours. I'll be available every day to you if you need. If you just want to show me your artwork, I would love to see it. Or if you would like to show me your STEAM projects, please don't hesitate. Come to my office hours, show me what you've got, because it would definitely make my day to see your drawings. I hope you like this lesson. I'll see you in a second for the instructions, and have fun. Bye guys. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about perspective and what exactly 1-point perspective is and how it related back into the old days when people first were discovering this way of drawing and painting in their artwork. So when we're talking about perspective, basically what perspective is, it is a way of drawing a 3D object or something 3D on a 2D surface, so on a piece of paper. When you're thinking about perspective, it's a really fun way to think of it as like virtual reality, because the whole goal of VR is to really trick the illusion that there is space and depth, when in reality you are only in your living room, right? So it is just an illusion trying to make you feel like you're in a different place, similar to when we're talking about perspective in art. They usually try to make it so convincing that the viewer accepts this as their reality. So here's a really good example by the artist Rene Magritte. Obviously we see an apple, but above the apple, the artist paints in French that this is not an apple. Naturally, our instincts are telling us, yeah, of course, this is definitely an apple. I'm looking at an apple right now. But realistically, we've been tricked. It takes a lot of effort and concentration to remind us that we are actually only looking at a painting of an apple, not a real apple. We are simply looking at paint smeared on a canvas to make us think and feel as though we are looking at a real apple. So perspective is one of those things that creates that illusion. So now we're going to go ahead and look at linear perspective, which is what you will be doing, a type of linear perspective in your drawings. There are always different types of techniques that artists can use to create perspective in their artwork, and linear perspective is just one of those techniques. So what the artist is doing for linear perspective, they're taking advantage of linear lines and vanishing points. This entire technique is basically developed around the idea that when things get farther and farther away from you, they appear smaller and smaller, and when they're closer to you, they appear much larger. And that's what we're trying to achieve with this type of style of art. When the objects become so far away from us as the viewer, they actually appear as though they disappear. Now that little tiny point where everything disappears, that is called the vanishing point. So when we're doing our drawings, and we'll get back into this in a little bit, to draw with linear perspective, you always start with that vanishing point. With linear perspective, there are different types of ways you can work with it. There is what's called 1-point perspective, which is what we'll be doing. There is 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective, 4-point perspective, and even 5-point perspective. Before I freak you out too much, we're only going to be doing 1-point perspective, and we're going to be doing these aquarium drawings. So here's some example of those, and I am going to show you the steps right now. So get your paper and pencil ready, and we'll get into it. Alright, boys and girls, so the only thing you really need for this drawing at the moment will be a ruler, or some kind of straight edge, like a book would work, or a binder, and a pencil. And if you need, you might want an eraser just in case you need to erase some of those vanishing lines. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to find the center of my paper as best as I can, and personally I want it to be right in the center. So what I'm doing is I'm going to find that center point by folding my paper in half. You can go ahead and open it up, and we're going to flip it over and do the same thing. Fold it in half again. And remember, you can use any kind of paper for this. You can use printer paper, which is what I'm using for mine. You can use construction paper, or if you have a sketchbook laying around, that works as well. So then I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I should have that cross from where I folded it in between the paper. And I'm going to draw my vanishing point right onto that dot in the center. So remember, this is our vanishing point. This is where everything, all of our lines will lead to. It never moves, and you should never change it. That is how we're going to create that optical illusion that everything is kind of vanishing away from you. So now I'm going to go ahead and start drawing the walls of my aquarium. I am going to line up my ruler from the center point to the edge point of the paper. And as best as I can, I know my ruler's a little small, so I'm just going to do as straight of a line as possible. And I'm going to do the top part of my aquarium, so same thing. From the center point and working my way up. Now going, oh, I messed up. Everyone messes up. Okay, then taking my ruler onto the right side of the page and doing the same thing. From the center vanishing point all the way to the point at the end. And eventually what's going to happen is it's going to create an X on your paper. Remember, I'm drawing as lightly as I possibly can, so that I can erase when I mess up, which I'm sure I will, and you probably will too, and that's fine. And then drawing that last X there. So now what we're looking at is I have my X, I have the bottom of my aquarium where the walkway will be, and the top of my aquarium where we'll have some glass and some fishies later on. Okay, so now in aquariums, I have those things that kind of act as the whole glue, the whole structure of the aquarium, where the glass pieces meet each other. So from the top of the aquarium to the bottom of the aquarium. And that's what we're going to draw next. And it'll make more sense when we finish it. But right now, so what I'm going to do is take my ruler again. And I am kind of doubling up on each one of those lines that I've already drawn. So I drew a line right underneath the previous one, and I'm going to do that for every single one of my lines that I've already drawn. Alright, so it should look something like this when you're done, still having that X. All of my lines are leading towards my vanishing point. And now what we're going to do is start creating more of those kind of structural parts to the aquarium. So on the left-hand side and the right-hand side and the top, we have to create these kind of lines that act as those pillars where the glass pieces meet. So starting a line here, and again doubling up, so making it kind of 2 lines thick. And I know it's a little tough to see, but you'll see it when it gets a little bit closer. Okay, so drawing another line, drawing another one right next to it, and the same thing. So remember, when things start getting closer to you, they should start appearing as though they are becoming bigger. So I'm kind of drawing that space in between my lines a little bit thicker as it goes out. And I think I'm going to go ahead and draw one more of those pillars, drawing it down. I know my ruler's a little short, so stopping and continuing, and down, and then and creating that double width. So then drawing another line next to that one. And if you need an example of what we're actually drawing here, please go back and look at the examples that I showed to you previously so you can kind of understand what it is that we're drawing. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw the same thing that we did on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, okay? So again, kind of trying to mirror what we did on the left, keeping them pretty much the same width apart as I did on the other side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and now do the top of the aquarium. So remember, the aquarium is made of all complete glass. So these pillars are what's holding this glass together. Now for this top part, we're going to create some arches and kind of like half circles meeting from one set from the left hand side all the way over to the right hand side. Remember, I'm taking my time, creating it, making it equal and even as best as I can. I might draw it out first really lightly and then go back over it. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for each one of the pillars that I see, just connecting a line on top. Okay, so moving on to the floor. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video. I hope you guys are sticking in there with me. So here's the tough part. I hope the top part didn't seem too tough because now we're going to do the floor. And we're going to create a checkerboard pattern. Now we are going to draw the same. We're going to do lines from that vanishing point coming out to the end of the paper. Now remember, when things go far away from you, they appear small. So those lines will appear to be squished when it's far away. Now I'm bringing my ruler kind of like maybe half an inch apart from each other on the bottom there. I don't know if you can see, but I'm not making my lines touch at the bottom. They are about half an inch apart. Actually, maybe about an inch to a half an inch, I would say. Okay. Bringing them straight down once they get to the center here. And continuing it on to the other side. Now this is all part of the illusion. Remember, I'm keeping those, when they become closer to me, a little bit farther apart and making them appear squished when they go far towards that vanishing point. All right, last part for today. Now we're just going to go ahead and create horizontal lines from the edge to the other edge, so the bottom. So we're only doing the floor. And remember, again, when they're far away, they are going to appear a little bit more squished. So you want to make your lines closer together and become farther apart the closer you bring your ruler to you. Right, so notice I am making these pretty spaced out now compared to before. Okay, starting off really, really small, getting a lot bigger down here. Far away and close. And just finishing up those lines down here. Again, your lines, this kind of drawing is all about precision, so please make sure you're keeping it as neat as you can, making sure your lines are pretty much straight. If you need to correct something, definitely correct it, or else it won't create that illusion. And I think I'm going to do one more down here. Okay, and now we have our floor. And that is going to be it for today. Next time we'll talk about coloring and outlining. So if you need any help, please remember to join me in my office hours and I will be there to help you. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.